Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Box Score Sports Podcast. On this clip, we are going to continue our NBA season preview, and we're going to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Before me and Clint get into the Timberwolves, let us know down in the comments down below what your thoughts are of the Minnesota Timberwolves season moving forward. I would redo this, but come on, people like when people screw up. Like and subscribe to the video. Clint, let's get into the season preview for the Timberwolves. So last year they were 49-33. They were sixth in the West and lost to the Thunder in the conference finals. The big move they made is re-signing their own guys, Randall and Reed. And then they did lose Alexander Walker in a sign and trade to, I think that you mentioned the Hawks before the pod. So going into this season, Clint, what is the strength or what are you most looking forward to for the Timberwolves moving into this season?
I was going to say versatility. They lost a little without Alexander Walker, but I still think it's their size.
Yeah.
You know, Gobert, Randall, McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. I mean, Edwards is only 6'4", but he plays, much bigger than that. So I think just having that size up front, which they're a good rebounding team. Anthony Edwards gives you some dynamism. So I just think it's that size and versatility still applies here that allows them to kind of unlock a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree. I even think like the big man versatility, like you can start Randall with Gobert, you can throw Naz Reid with Gobert, you could throw Naz Reid with Randall, you can even start Randall at center. You only need one of them out there. So there's a lot of options they can do at their big man rotation, which I think is a huge strength of theirs. The fact that they can kind of go game to game, whoever they're playing, that they, especially with Gobert, he has a role. But if his role isn't needed, now you can stay big with Naz Reid and Randall, and your team's still going to be okay. So I agree with you. That's a huge strength, their versatility, but I also like their big man versatility.
Yeah, and two of their, Randall shot it good last year, gives them spacing. It's not just like, oh, he's a good big man, and Reid got better defensively. He wasn't, a Bobby Portis turnstile down there anymore. So
correct. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Biggest weakness or what you're least looking forward to going into the season for the Wolves?
So I'm a little worried. We just talked about their big man. Like Rudy Gobert is a year older. And the versatility they had last year allowed them to put Alexander Walker on the court. If you need to take Rudy Gobert off and put in Naz Reid, cool, or play up Julius Randle, you don't quite have that with that. So you're relying on Terrence Shannon, which he showed some flashes, but now you really got to see it. If you go with Dante, then you're pretty small. So I think my biggest worry is that versatility still there to a high enough degree to keep them in the upper end of the West?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, only time will tell, right? As players get older, they all like deteriorate, I guess, regress. Regress is a better word. They regress all differently, but big men like Gobert, when he has a special like role that could regress, I should say, in a really bad way. My weakness, by the way, this real quick, we before I get comments, we know that Anthony Edwards is also a strength on this team. We weren't ignoring him. Okay. He's amazing. He's a top, whatever, 10 player for sure. Like he's amazing. Okay. I just wanted to add that because when we were doing the Giants one, people were mad we didn't mention one of their guys. It's like, well, we're not mentioning the whole roster. But anyway, weakness for me, point guard play. I think that in the playoffs, you need to have multiple ball handlers to bring the ball up court, take some pressure, especially off of Anthony Edwards. I just don't know if the point guards that they have, Conley's a year older. And then they got Rob Dillingham as their second point guard right now, and we didn't see a whole lot. So the confidence I have in the like really solid point guard play, especially to take pressure off of Edwards in the playoffs, I'm a little concerned about that.
I would agree. That leads to my question.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Your big question going into the season for the Wolves.
Yeah, my question was Rob Dillingham. Like, what can they
Mm,
get out of it? Like Mike Conley, he still got it to a degree.
yeah,
I mean, obviously, the older you get, it comes and goes. He can't bring it every night, but can he play enough? And if they don't, can Rob Dillingham like make a stretch, be a better shooter, run the offense or run the second unit? Because obviously Anthony Edwards can do it, and in big moments, Anthony Edwards is going to have the ball.
right.
But we're talking 82 games and then the playoffs here. So similar to what we said for years, like with Devin Booker, like Anthony Edwards as a guard, he's not a point guard. He can
Right.
do it. He can play it sometimes. So their guard rotation, Dante, not really a point guard. He can do it in stretches. So my biggest question is, can they get enough quality guard play to facilitate an offense without just dumping it all on Anthony Edwards?
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And I think that would be best for Anthony Edwards too, is just to have somebody else that they can rely on to facilitate the offense. So that, like you said, in big moments, obviously it's going to be in his hands, but can you keep him fresh enough so he can perform at the highest level in those big moments? That's going to be a lot of that'll have a lot to do with who your point guards are and whether they're taking the pressure off of you as well. So Dillingham is a big question. I had him written down, and I also had Jaden McDaniels. Can he take another step? Because he always shows flashes. Like defensively, he's just a really good defender, but like offensively, he's very hit or miss. A lot of inconsistencies with him. Last year, the last 2 years, he shot 33% from three. The year before that, he was up to 39. Like, so obviously there's one thing that doesn't fit, but can we get a little bit more consistent shooting from him? Can he be consistent game to game offensively? So sort of like what Jalen Williams became to Shea. Like how he became that like second guy that you could go to and he could score, provide a little bit better, like good shooting, consistent offense. Can McDaniels take another step to be that guy? That's a big question I have for them.
Yeah, they're going to need it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What constitutes to you success for the Wolves going into the season?
So I think for them, it's got to be you lost Alexander Walker, still contending. Like you're in this window, right? You traded for Gobert. He's obviously going to age out. You paid Randall. You're kind of tight with the money here, but you have Anthony Edwards. You still got to contend. So I think success for this year would be getting, based on if you look at the standings with the Lakers and Clippers ahead of them, maybe you can adjust that and get home court at least in the first round.
Yeah, I think that would be a successful season for them. And here's the thing, I don't think a title. I know people are itching for Anthony Edwards to get to the finals and stuff. He's 24 years old. So like I think what would be better, not like obviously a title would be the best thing, but what would be better than putting that on them is being like, can Dillingham, like if they only make the second round, but Dillingham becomes like a legit playmaking point guard, that I would be more excited about that if I'm Wolves fan than getting to the Western Conference Finals and losing again and not having an answer there. Or like McDaniels becoming that true number two that Edwards need. So I think like for me, success would be if one of those two guys really pop this season and you have something along with Edwards that you have looking, moving forward with. You're right. Gobert's 33, Randall's 30, Naz Reid's only 26, but like my timeline is Anthony Edwards right now, and who can I fit into that timeline versus like trying to win a title like right now. So that would be success for me for the Wolves.
Yeah, and it gives you can kind of extend the carrot, not just for fans, for Anthony Edwards, like, all right, Dillingham, Daniels, if Rudy Gobert can hang on, his contract decreases enough that maybe you can move off of that and bring in something else and kind of change the way it looks. But that's a good one.
Yeah, and you wouldn't even mind if they traded Gobert and got something like, you don't need another big because you got Naz Reid and Randall. You could start those two. It would be a little bit disappointing because it ruins your like rotation of big man and your flexibility a little bit. But yeah, there is a potential like maybe trade down in the future with Gobert. But yeah. Okay, prediction. What do you have for predictions for the Wolves? The predict.
Yeah, a little worried, but I'm still going to give them a playoff spot. I think, again, the backbone of that team is still there to, ward off some of these lower teams. And I think they're likely to be healthier than some of these teams, being for the most part younger than especially, like the Warriors or the track record of the Grizzlies. So I think that is enough to get them a locked playoff spot.
Yeah, I have them playoff/contender. I'm gonna do something a little different this year. I'm gonna limit myself to like 3 contenders. Last year with the West, I had like 4 or 5, but I think in each conference I'm gonna limit myself to 3 or maybe even 2. We'll see. But for right now, I'm just gonna say playoff contender for the Wolves. They did make the Western Conference Finals with a very similar roster, so it is possible that they could sneak in there as well, back to the Western Conference. So that's where I have them. Okay. Anything else on the Wolves?
To see more Anthony Edwards. Hopefully he's got to take a little bit of a sip. Again, as you mentioned earlier, sometimes we overlook the stars on the teams because you kind of take it for granted. But Anthony Edwards definitely has the ability to take a step up, whether that's playmaking. I mean, he's a good shooter, but maybe finding a little balance. He jacked a lot of threes last year. He was 40%, which is fine, but sometimes you lose a little bit of that middle ground, that attacking. So I think just finding that balance and again, improving as an overall player keeps them in that, hey, they could contend. Because if he takes that step, then some of these other things, you're like, it's not quite as big of a deal when you have Anthony Edwards dominating all the time.
Yeah, exactly. No, and he's only 24. So like 26 to 27, 28, that's when we see a finished product usually of a player. I think he's going to be a fun finished product. I think 2 things I'd like from him is like a pull-up mid-range, like get by the first defender they run you off the 3-point line, but you don't just attack the basket hardcore. You like pull up that mid-range, like a DeMar DeRozan type of shot. I also would love for him to go back to a post-up mid-fade game like he did 2 years ago. I thought he like was really looking good with that, and it seemed like he kind of went away from that last year. I'd like him to go back to that a little bit as well. So yeah, that's a good call. Okay, that's it then. Thanks everybody for watching. Let us know down in the comments down below what your thoughts on the Timberwolves season. Like, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.